Just look at me now. Just look at me now. Just look at me now. Eyes up on me, take a look at me now. Just look at me now. Just look at me now. Eyes up on me, take a look at me now.
Takes on the strike. Side body.
Chelsea are champions.
Good evening. The Barclays Women's Super League season is in full swing, and as the weather cools down, the football is certainly heating up. Here's what we have coming up for you on the Women's Football Show. Bristol City continued their search for their first points of the season as they welcomed Arsenal to Aston Gate. The two sides at the top of the table went head-to-head as surprise package Leicester City played host to Manchester City. And Brighton, the only side to have beaten Chelsea at home in the league since 2019, visited Kingsmeadow looking to repeat the feat. Plus, as always, all the goals from the rest of the matches in the WSL too. Now, Gilly Flatty is back with me in the studio, whilst the recently retired ex-England forward Tash Dowie also makes her Women's Football Show debut. Now, we're going to start the programme at Aston Gate as recently promoted Bristol City look to kick-start their campaign against an Arsenal side who had lift-off last weekend thanks to two injury-time goals against Aston Villa. Mads Faruqi, watch this one.
Rachel Furness says Bristol City have been approaching the week positively. That's despite that 5-0 thrashing at Manchester City last time out. She starts against Arsenal, but 22-year-old Olivia Clark has handed her debut in goal, with Kayla Marquise not included in the matchday squad against her parent club. Ella Powell and Fionn Morgan also come in. Anything less, though, than an Arsenal victory would be a big shock. Lara Cadena and Victoria Pelova are the two changes for Arsenal for their lineup against Villa. Beth Mead, who got an assist in her first minutes since November in that game, as Arsenal dramatically won in stoppage time, is named again on the bench, alongside another player returning from an ACL injury in Viviana Miedemar. And just before kick-off, we're going to pause to remember all those affected by the ongoing events in Israel and in Gaza. All the play in the early stages just coming in the Bristol City half. I think this is going to be the pattern of play we're going to see throughout this match. Kathleen Ford doing really well. Good work this from the Australian striker, and that shot then coming off Clark and crashing off the post. Early danger already for Bristol City here. Little there, feeding in Caitlin Ford. And Bristol City forced to concede the corner, the first of this match. Good solid header out there from Bristol City. And then the shot from distance, absolutely brilliant from Katie McCabe. She wasn't pressured at all. From distance, able to place that strike past Clark into the back of Bristol City's net. So much confidence to take that shot on from distance. Just over 5 minutes on the clock already. Bristol City are behind. Bristol City have the ball now. Jones. And now Napier. Oh, that's a lovely cross into the area. And what an equaliser that is. Rachel Furness leading from the front for Bristol City. Their first real move forward. Jones feeding it back to Napier, who is given space just to get that cross in. And what a great header that is from Furness. She knows exactly where she wants to place that. Pelova. That ball from Maritz, though, one that Bristol City have picked up, and that's a cynical foul there. Bristol City think, and they do indeed win the free kick. Tessrup off on the counter there. Tessrup there, pointing where she wants the ball, trying to run onto that. Lotte Wubben-Moy booked for that challenge. Looking at it again, though, I think the Bristol City fans think there might have been a bigger punishment for that. Arsenal going again. Cadena, shot from distance, straight at Clark, good block, and then Russo with the follow-up, and then the third Arsenal opportunity cleared as McCabe was trying to run onto that. And eventually Bristol City get their area clear. Really good block that from Megan Connolly. 11,500 here. A record attendance for Bristol City's women. Bristol City lose out. And then the shot from distance. Clark had to be very quick down, low to her left-hand side. Bristol City just losing concentration. Connolly again, marking Russo. This corner's swept in. And as Partially gets it clear, and then Katie McCabe makes no mistake with that. Firing that one in. And her second of the game gives Arsenal the 2-1 lead. And again, Clark gets a hand to it. Could she have done more to try and keep that one out the back of her own net? Lauren Smith will be pleased, I think, with the performance from her team tonight, from the off as well. Remember, they were 5-0 down at half-time to Manchester City last weekend. This has been a much improved performance from them. Miedema feeding in. Mead here. And then forward shot, just blocked. Couple of yards out. Great block that from Napier. But this was a lovely ball, feeding in. Beth Mead from Viviana Miedema. And then Ford was trying to poke it home. Napier with a really good block. McCabe just happy to shepherd the ball by the corner flag. And that is indeed the full-time whistle. And Katie McCabe with a little fist pump before a hug and embrace with Viviana Miedema, because her goals have made the difference for Arsenal tonight. Full-time, Bristol City 1, Arsenal 2.
We've said about wanting to be more than a one-half team. We've done that. We've been quite hard to get through and beat today. And unfortunately, it's come down to 2 second phases of corners. So that's the bit that's hard to take, but I'm really pleased with how they've defended, the character that's shown up. And so, yeah, there's loads to take into the next games.
I think the way that we played offense, I think we're a very varied offense. I think we varied very well between trying to go centrally and on the sides. I think my only regret from this game is that we didn't score more goals.
Well, welcome along to the show, Tash. Good to have you with us. Let's start with the Arsenal perspective there, because a win's a win, another win, back-to-back wins, but it wasn't exactly convincing, was it?
No, I think going into the game we were all guilty that we thought it'd be a lot bigger scoreline and a lot more comfortable. But you know what, credit to Bristol, because I think there's no shame in setting up the way they set up. You know, it's a 5-4-1, hard to break down, and they did that really well, and they nearly came away with something from this game today. But if you look at the stats, I think it's 25 shots to 1, and Arsenal needed to be more clinical today, and it's still not really clicking in the top end for them, but they've got the likes of Mead and Miedema to come back as well, which is obviously going to help.
Do you understand Idaval's frustration there, really, that they aren't getting 3 points and being, well, no, they are getting 3 points, but not being more convincing?
Yeah, and I think obviously you've seen it over the games this whole season. They've had chances, but the positive from that is that they are creating chances. That's the main thing. But it is being clinical and it's other players stepping up as well. But obviously, Miedemar coming back on the pitch, that's a huge weight off the likes of Russo's shoulders too.
Someone who has been stepping up in front of goal recently has been Katie McCabe. 2 more goals from her. I sat in this chair last week and said she doesn't score average goals, and she didn't again today.
Yeah, she didn't. It's trademark McCabe, isn't it? You know, this is her. You know, if I'm going to be ultra critical, I actually think the goalie could do better here, and that's me. I think if you see there, she doesn't really get off the ground, but it's a great strike. And again, you know, Bristol defended so well, threw bodies on the line, but the 2 goals that they conceded, I think, are probably the 2 moments that they switched off. And you see here, you can't leave McCabe. She's been able to control that, and even on her weaker foot, which she doesn't have a weaker foot, let's be honest, she has a free shot. So I think that would be disappointing for Bristol, that those 2 moments they switched off.
Did you notice improvements, though, in their setup defensively today, though, Gilly? Because we saw them concede 5 last weekend.
Yeah, most definitely. I think they had the bodies on the line defending, you know, and I said it last week, I felt like that art of defending has not been seen in the game recently. But you're looking at that, 8 bodies in the box, people were tight with their players as well. And you're looking at both goals that they've conceded have been from second phases, which is an easier thing to coach because you can. That's just concentration. That's staying alert, staying focused, which they'll now learn going forward as well. That they've got to be alive on the second phase too. But yeah, it's been great defending today.
I think it's decision-making as well. If you see here, trying to Cruyff turn in the penalty area, you know, a bit old school, but put it out for a throw-in, because then the pressure doesn't come back on you. But then credit to them, they get bodies around the ball, 4 players. They do defend, like Gilly said, with bodies on the line, but I do think they could have made their life a lot easier if they had just made the decisions a little bit better here. You know, you've got to go out and shut her down there. You know, too much time to be able to dribble and have a free shot, but that's terrific. You know, that's a Gilly block, isn't it? You know, throwing her body on the line and denying it, and that's what they did all game.
You used the phrase decision-making there. We watched this game together earlier, and you were getting very frustrated as well with the decision-making in attack from Bristol City too.
Yeah, it's hard. Look, I've been there. You know, when I was at Reading last year and we were 1-0 up against Chelsea and you're defending for 90 minutes trying to hold on to the game. But for me, where does the player need the support? You know, the players are running away from the ball. She needs you. She needs feet. And I think that's where Bristol really struggled today. Is too many times when they got the ball, they were running away. I actually think that the decision here to running behind was good, but the ball needs to be heavier. You know, so it was just lacking in that final moment. But I feel like Bristol, the attack kept coming back and back because they didn't have that player that could hold the ball up and really allow them to then support.
But certainly plenty for them to build on given their start, and plenty for them to think about over the international break. Well, next up, our focus turns to the 2 teams who started the weekend at the top of the table. Now, Manchester City had an aggregate score of 14-1 against Leicester across their past 4 meetings, but they were only separated by goal difference going into their Saturday night meeting at the King Power this weekend. So far this season, we have certainly seen a very different Leicester side.
Palmer with a fabulous goal. That's a ball through from Peterman, and it's 1-0. Leicester City maintain their unbeaten run. Bunny Shaw, and it is a moment of brilliance.
Towards Cannon, she let run again. What a strike and what a goal!
Well, could Leicester keep up their impressive start? It's been a busy weekend for Gilly. She was at the King Power alongside Vicky Sparks.
Leicester make 3 changes from the side that earned a creditable draw at Manchester United last time out. Hannah Kane makes her first league start of the season. Jutta Rantala and Julie Thibault also come in, with Green, Cayman and Goodwin dropping to the bench. Lauren Hemp is back on the bench for Manchester City after recovering from a shoulder problem, as Gareth Taylor names an unchanged side from the thrashing of Bristol City, with Khadija Shaw and Jill Roord both in red-hot form. 3 goals apiece so far this season. They've both bagged braces in that 5-0 victory. A little short back to Keating. She read it well. Again, does have time to pick the pass there, Gilly, and will break for Manchester City. Here is Roord, and look at the space on this right-hand side. It's Chloe Kelly for Manchester City. It's spilled by Yanina Leipzig, and Manchester City take the lead. Chloe Kelly on the score sheet again, scoring early on as she did against Chelsea. But you can tell by the expression on the face of Janina Leipzig that she knows she should have done better with that.
Look at the back line there. They're all over the place. The space has opened up for Jill Roord there. Nevin's got no chance, really, because she has to go into Roord. She ain't going to be able to get over to Chloe Kelly as well. Yes, Leipzig should do better there. But defensively, as a back line, that's poor from Leicester. So unorganised, the space opened up. Jill Roord, big smile on her face to see that space for her to drive into.
Keating goes long, looking for Shaw, tussling with Howard. Here is Chloe Kelly. Interception, with fall to Hannah Kane. And now Peterman, good save Keating, and cleared away by Alex Greenwood, Leicester's biggest chance of the game.
Yeah, it's a big save from Keating too. And that's the first time probably that you've heard the Leicester City fans as well in this first half. Obviously they do with a turnover, and obviously having the high press, it means that they've got bodies there. But it's a great save from Keating.
Good pressure put on once again by Manchester City, and a good save by Leipzig from Angeldal. Headed off the line as well. Angeldal trying to squeeze it back in, and Fowler can't force it home. It's a corner. Somehow it's not a second Manchester City goal. And again, that ball through the middle is causing all sorts of havoc in the Leicester City back line.
If I was playing, I would be absolutely losing my head at this, because it is another one direct ball from Keating straight down the middle. And it's really hard because Willie Kirk's playing free at the back against a front three. You know, you're asking a lot of that central defender, but Leicester are very, very fortunate.
In terms of the system and the shape, we can talk about that and discuss that, but there has been some outstanding individual defending from Leicester that we have to praise. They might almost get in here. Keating makes the save. The decision is corner. Could that perhaps have been more for Leicester City? Was Keating taking a bit of a risk here?
Yeah, for me, that's a huge save. Wheeling, obviously, too much time on the ball there. You've got to get out quicker to the cross. You can't allow that to come in. No, it's a great save for me. It's a great save.
Look at the space for Courtney Nevin now. And look how many blue shirts are in the penalty area. This is the attacking football that Willie Kirk talks about. Shannon O'Brien. And how have Leicester City not equalised? So many chances at the other end, but they're all piling up at this end for Leicester as we approach half-time.
Again, you're questioning Alana Kennedy, the centre-backs in there. Alana Kennedy's too far away there for me from Tierney.
Can they make this pressure count?
Yeah, Willie Kirk will be really pleased and proud of his team, how they've started the WSL this year.
And they've kept themselves in this match. Manchester City looking to change that. Here goes Lauren Hemp. What a good run that was, beaten away by Leipzig, and that is a huge opportunity for 2-0.
She's on her right foot, which is obviously seen as Lauren Hemp's weaker foot, if there is such a thing. But Bunny Shaw was in the middle there. Great opening there, but Jess Park got to be hitting the target there. But again, that comes from experience. She is a young player.
You have to reflect on how far Leicester City have come, only just staying up in their previous two WSL seasons. Forcing Manchester City into a bit of time wasting as they try and see out this game. Can they find the goal to finish it off? It's Khadija Shaw. It's Lauren Hemp. Not quite. She will collect. And she'll go for goal, and it's beaten away by Leipzig. Manchester City corner.
Khadija Shaw, obviously, she's driving into space. Lauren Hemp is doing really well because she's pulling further out, but that pass there needs to be cushioned enough that Lauren Hemp can hit that first time. So it's a strong hand from Leipzig in the end too to tip it over.
Manchester City head top of the WSL table. They preserve their unbeaten start to the season at the expense of Leicester City's. It finishes Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1.
If you look at 4 games in the WSL for us this so far, we conceded 1 goal, and that was in the 93rd minute. So that just tells you we're a little bit of a different proposition this season in that, and we pride ourselves on not giving much away, and have to give full credit to the players for that.
I don't think little Leicester are so little anymore. I think the fact that we've picked up 7 points in opening 4 games, we've played Man City and Man United within that 4 games, so I think we can be happy where we are, and there's a lot more to come first team.
Yeah, so much for Willie Kirk to be positive about. But Julie, let's get straight into it. You obviously were on commentary, as we just heard there. The winner for Manchester City, was their brave approach, Leicester's brave approach, almost their undoing here?
Yeah, I mean, you're just looking there at the space between the 2 outside centre-backs, and what Shaw done well is she dragged Sophie Howard in with her as sort of a decoy. But here, I mean, Leipzig should do better with that, but I think the power that Chloe Kelly has behind it, that's what helps it go through anyway. But for me, I mean, I had total head loss in the first 20-25 minutes when I was doing the commentary because defensively I was getting so worked up because I know it's brave from Leicester, but they were lucky not to be 3-4-0 down.
I thought you were going to say you had head loss at Chloe Kelly's dancing there, but we don't have time to comment on that. That is something that City did well, though, isn't it? In the first half, when Leicester were struggling a little bit defensively, getting used to this slightly different system, City did exploit the gaps well.
Yeah, they absolutely did, and should have taken more chances, but helping it into dangerous areas, and Broad has had a magnificent impact on this City team since she's come in, and I've been lucky enough to play with Yui, and she picks up those positions and can find people, and they got too tight to Bunny Shaw. Chloe Kelly has to finish that there for me, put it into the corner, but again, too tight, allowing her to roll. I don't know where the defenders are in that situation. And it's just, chance after chance, and City really should have been more clinical.
How difficult is it as a player when you maybe do change systems, as Leicester kind of are?
It is difficult, especially if you're one of those 3 defenders and you're coming up against the front line of that Man City have, and then bringing off like Lauren Hemp and Jess Park off the bench too. It is difficult, and it's about your role as a defender, 1v1 defender, but it's so hard, especially with the pitch, how big it is too.
If we talk about how Leicester have evolved and how they've learned, we actually saw that in the second half, didn't we? The way they adapted, they realised the mistakes they've made. You picked out CJ Bott as player of the match, but what impressed you in general that they did differently in that second half to contain City?
Well, I think you're noticing, there was a lot more covering, the gaps were a lot smaller as well. They were just helping each other out, but for me, Bott was incredible in the second half. She took the game by the scruff of the neck, she was composed, she was covering, but with Leicester, they were just more aware of where the Man City players were. But yeah, it's communication, it's everything, but they were tidied up definitely in the second half.
Yes, stern words, I think, from Willie Kirk at half-time.
Yeah, I think if you look at this Leicester team of this season, they're a lot harder to break down. They've got a lot more character within the team, but they've also signed players like Peterman now that can put the ball in the back of the net. So they'll be in games, and then they'll know they'll get them 1 or 2 opportunities and they'll score the goals.
OK, so City got the narrow victory there, but what a start to the season it has been for the Foxes. We're now going to head to the home of the champions as Chelsea welcomed Brighton, and earlier this week we caught up with one of the Seagulls' latest arrivals. Champions League winner Vicky Losada told us about captaincy and the new project under Melissa Phillips.
I'm so happy to have joined Brighton. I think we have a really good group. We want to work hard, and it's actually an exciting season for us.
Brighton have a new captain, Vicky Losada, a woman with so much experience.
Melissa Phillips giving me the captaincy was surprising, but after a few meetings with her, I commit to the role, and I'm happy, and I like to take that responsibility because I've done that in my career before.
There's a lot that she brings in terms of connectivity and relationships throughout the full squad. She has a really uncanny ability to relate to a lot of different people, and I'm sure that's what's put her in a position to wear the armband across multiple squads.
I've already committed 100% to this club, to the girls, to building something really big, and I hope I can bring my experience, help the girls, and also keep learning because football keeps developing. But we are building something really good, and we need time and also enjoy the process. Because if you do things well every day, then you're gonna get a result, and it's about having that mindset and trying also to not stress under difficult situations. I think Chelsea are winners. It's actually really challenging for us, and I think you have to play these teams to grow. And I think the situations in that game are the highest level in women's football, so that's what you want if you want to get there in the future.
Wright's throw, the layoff was good. Frank Kirby! Bagley didn't get a touch, the crossbars bailed her out, and Brighton hack it clear again. Decent looking counter this from the very new look Brighton side. As Pinto gets it to Robinson, Bramer in the middle, 1-0 Brighton. The shock on at Kingsmeadow, where Brighton have caused a couple before, and the Blues, who never lose at home, are behind. They're making the run. And Kirby has picked up space here. Nusken in the middle. Kerr with the cross to Nusken. That is a brilliant save from Sophie Bagley. Still knocking at the door. Still can't find a way through. Frank Kirby, lovely pass. Kerr was pushed wide. Look how crowded the box is. Kirby off the bar again. Perisset. Bagley stops it. It's mayhem in the box, and it's another wonderful stop. Brighton's new keeper is having the game of her life here, and somehow it's still 1-0 to Brighton. How has that not gone in? Nusken, combative. Charles has had it pinched off. Robinson has found Bramer, who nearly made it too. Carter forced wide. Oh, it's a perfect delivery! And at the 14th time of asking, in first half stoppage time, Chelsea do score. A first goal for the Blues for Sjoeke Nusken. Unrelenting attacking from Chelsea here. This is Sam Kerr. Nusken, 2-1. The new signing with goals either side of the half-time break, and the champions have turned it round. Unrelenting attacking. Robinson, excellently ahead of her. And a lot of space here for Bramer, left by Millie Bright. As Bramer is once again denied by Anne-Katrin Berger. Jankovic onto it quickly. She could take that from Nusken. Kanarud, and still it's blocked by Bergsvan, and again with Nusken looking for the hat-trick. Jankovic, they're queuing up here Chelsea, it's Ingle. And Kerr, and in for 3-1. Well, they run to Nusken, it may be an own goal off Bergsvan, but either way, Chelsea have daylight, it's 3-1. That from Vicky Losada. Chelsea are good enough without the help. Kerr and Kanarud. That's an excellent stop. Fleming has somehow missed. Should have been 4-1. Torres Dottir against a former club has got in all sorts of bother. Nusken and Aggie Beever-Jones scores her first Chelsea goal, and it's 4-1. Torres Dottir got in a bit of a mess. Nusken was unselfish. What a moment for Aggie Beever-Jones. The best clearance that from Berger. Haley. Simons. And Turland. 4-2. And 4-4 for Elizabeth Turland. What a start to the season she's having. Well, that was a brilliant, bonkers game of football. Brighton in front. Chelsea responded as champions do. They're not winning with comfort so far this season, the Blues, but they are winning. 4-2 the final score. Cracking game.
Yeah, I think we played a really good first half. Conceding in the dying seconds of the first half is always really difficult to come out into the second half with. Chelsea changed their shape and it caused us a bit of problem with matchups through midfield, which allowed them to get back into the game quite quickly.
The goalkeeper was having a worldie the first half. She was doing really well. But everything we hit on target was into body, so it was easy for her. We had to put them either side of it. That's what we spoke about at half-time, and the team did really well, and the players coming from the bench did really well.
OK, we'll come on to that worldie, as Emma Hayes put it, from Sophie Bagley very shortly. But as for Chelsea overall, they got the win in the end, but it didn't exactly get off to the best start, did it, Gilly?
No, it wasn't the best start, and Brighton have been Chelsea's bogey team over the years. But for me, it's just poor defending. Chelsea defenders are ball watching. They've not got a wear at all. Bright or Buchanan, really, where the two Brighton players are in the box. And there was a little switch there as well. Brighton, we've been playing centre of the back three, and she went out to the right and Buchanan went in. So there was that switch there, but it's just poor defending from Chelsea.
OK, let's take a look at this worldie then from Bagley, because Chelsea had 28 shots, 66 touches in the Brighton box, and Bagley had to make 9 saves. Did we see just why they've signed her?
Absolutely, yeah. She was brave throughout the first half in particular. But if you see here, all the shots, you know, it's the reaction saves here to get out and be big. And then even here, getting back into position again, making the tip, but she's up again, reacting, making that second save, up again. You know, as a keeper, it's never ending. And, you know, she really stood out for me in this first half. And the numbers could have been a lot higher if it wasn't for her.
Well, you think over the years, or since leaving Bristol, she's been a number 2 at Man United and not played much. So to be able to now go and play and be a number 1, you see the confidence is shining out of her.
Yeah, certainly taking her opportunity. But, of course, she did keep them in it for a while. But Chelsea are Chelsea. They're on this incredible 11-game unbeaten run in the WSL. And once Nuskin equalised, did it feel inevitable what was going to happen?
Yeah, I think as soon as they get that goal, Chelsea, you just see they just turn it up a level. And I was pleased for Nuskin as well, because when she signed, someone asked Emma about whether she was going to be playing more as a holding midfielder, and Emma said no, she feels like she's got a lot to give the team as a higher attacking midfielder, and you see that today. She's been robbed of the hat-trick. They've given the third goal as an own goal, but she just offers a different threat, and I think takes the pressure off of Sam Kerr for goals. Chelsea need other players to be chipping in this season.
Yeah, and we saw Aggie Beaver-Jones score as well, and she enjoyed that.
I think that's the difference right now between maybe the top teams, is that, like what Judy said, you share the load. I think sometimes the teams may be fighting down the bottom. They have that one striker that they rely on so heavily. Chelsea have everyone, you know, everyone chipping in, and like you said, takes that load then off Sam Kerr, who's building into the season.
Yeah, it does look like Chelsea in general are building into this season now. Well, it's time for us to round up the remaining 3 fixtures from the weekend, starting with Manchester United's trip to Merseyside to face Everton. Emma Jones can bring us up to speed.
Before kick-off at Walton Hall Park, there was a minute's silence in tribute to Sir Bobby Charlton, with both sets of players wearing black armbands. Manchester United started brightly and went ahead on 14 minutes. Katie Zellen with the corner, Melvin Mallard reacting first to the loose ball to give Mark Skinner's side a deserved lead. The Toffees grew into the game but found themselves 2 down shortly before the hour mark. Nikita Paris connecting with Zellem's cross to score her 7th goal in 9 Barclays WSL appearances against Everton. It got even worse for Brian Sorensen's side on 77 minutes. Paris turning provider this time for super sub Rachel Williams to bundle the ball past Courtney Brosnan. And Williams wasn't done, heading home a Jade Riviere cross to score her 2nd after being on the pitch for just 12 minutes. Paris then put the gloss on the victory with her 2nd in injury time to cap off a fine performance for Manchester United.
We've had sickness in the camp, so JC, Leah and Hayley are not here today, some members of staff. So for the players to do that, to be as professional as they were, I thought they were magnificent. All of the players that came into the games, the players that supported from the bench were great, and that shows a real team spirit.
Liverpool had only won 2 of their last 15 Barclays WSL matches in London, but had the better of a cagey first half against West Ham. Kerry Holland coming closest with her effort rattling the crossbar just before the break. In the second half, the woodwork came to the Hammers' rescue once again as Gemma Bonner nodded against the frame of the goal. Liverpool ramped up the pressure and finally broke the deadlock on 52 minutes. Marie Herbinger with the controlled finish from Holland's pass. But against the run of play and 5 minutes into added time, West Ham got their equaliser. Rico Ueki sliding in from close range to break Liverpool hearts and ensure the points were shared.
When you've got your chances, you need to try and convert them. West Ham were always going to have a spell in the game. And obviously it's desperately disappointing to concede in the 95th minute, but credit to West Ham, obviously they kept going. It was a great ball in from Phyllis at the end.
Aston Villa had lost their opening 3 Barclays WSL games heading into Saturday's meeting with Tottenham, but had the opportunity to calm their nerves early on when Adriana Leon was upended by Evelina Summanen. Rachel Daly stepping up to convert from the spot. However, Tottenham drew level in sensational style. Martha Thomas winning possession from her Scotland teammate Rachel Corsie before angling her chip over Daphne van Domselaar. Robert Wilhelm's side completed the turnaround on the stroke of half-time. Ashley Neville with the looping header from Jessica Naz's arrowed cross. Tottenham increased their advantage on 64 minutes, with Villa failing to clear the corner. The ball eventually fell to Grace Clinton, who laid it back for Thomas to score her second. And moments later, she'd completed her hat-trick and ended any hope of a comeback from the hosts. Carla Ward's side did pull one back in stoppage time through Lucy Parker, but it proved nothing more than a consolation on a fine afternoon for Spurs.
I'm very pleased with this performance because I think this is one of the toughest away games of the whole year, basically. And when they score in the first, was it 4th minute or something like that, and they were really good in the beginning, so I was like, this is going to be a tough day. But I'm so impressed with the players coming back from that, taking the battle, scoring a few goals, and how we played in the second half was just brilliant. I mean, we dominated and we played so bravely and we scored a beautiful goal, so I'm very pleased.
Yeah, I'm not surprised he's happy there, because what a performance from Spurs, and a word for Martha Thomas, her hat-trick. You've scored a few of those in your time, Tash. 6 goals for her now in 4 appearances. What did you enjoy about these goals today?
I think striker to striker, it's just great to see someone so full of confidence. And I think she's thriving being the main number 9 now for a team. At United, she played wide a lot and, you know, was more of an impact player. Whereas here, she's been given that opportunity. And you can just see the strikes that she's taking on. That's not an easy finish, but she's not even thinking about it. It's instinctive. Again, when it's set back out here, she's striking it so cleanly and so hard. You see she's alive, bouncing around, always looking, positioning herself, ready for it and striking it so clean. You know, and she said, I saw on her Instagram, she said, I found my smile again. You know, I think that just shows that she's enjoying her football. And the finishes show that. None of these finishes are easy, but it's a striker that's full of confidence, has the belief of her manager, and is having a great time.
Yeah, she certainly looks like she's enjoying it. Villa, not so much, still winless this season. Let's talk about Manchester United as well, because JC and Galton were missing today, but we saw Paris, Mallard and Williams all stepping up. Are we seeing that they've got a bit more strength in depth now?
Yeah, most definitely, and I think it takes a while. Obviously, me and Tash have both joined new teams. It takes a while to get settled in, and obviously you've lost 2 big players with Russo and Battiat, you know, who gave them a lot of goals, and Battiat with a lot of assists as well. But they had a difficult game against PSG too, and obviously that emotion and disappointment from getting knocked out. So it was crucial today for them to get the win.
Sorry to bring this up, but what about West Ham's injury time equaliser, Tash?
Devastated, to be honest, yeah, especially losing at the derby. They needed to have a good response. Look, a draw away at West Ham maybe isn't a bad one, but 30 seconds to go. Put a dampener on my weekend.
Yeah, but we've cheered you up by being here, haven't we? OK, well, let's take a look at what that means in the Barclays Women's Super League then. This is how the table looks. Manchester City remain top. They're level on points with Chelsea, but ahead on goal difference. Tottenham's emphatic win puts them in 3rd. Leicester City drop down to 5th, and Aston Villa and Bristol City remain at the bottom of the table, still in search of their first points on the board. In the Barclays Championship today, 8th place Durham welcomed Blackburn Rovers, who sat in 5th. Saoirse Noonan put the home side in front with this header in the 23rd minute, and just 5 minutes later, Noonan got her second with a curling effort in to the top corner. Now, just before half-time, Blackburn did make use of a quick counter-attack. Tyler Toland finishing off this move to pull one back for the visitors, but Durham did hold on to their lead to gain their first win in over a month. Well, there were 22 goals across the Championship today. 7 of those came at Birmingham as they flew past Watford. London City Lionesses gained their first win since the beginning of September. Sunderland and Sheffield United both grabbed 3 points on the road, and Charlton clinched the win at home to Crystal Palace. Well, Sunderland are the only remaining unbeaten side in the Championship. They're top 3 points clear of Southampton. Reading's second successive loss sees them drop down to 9th, and Watford are without a point from their last 5, but they do still sit above bottom place Lewis, thanks only now to goal difference. Well, coming up for you on the BBC, the Monday Night Club returns to iPlayer tomorrow at 7 p.m. as Mark Chapman and guests debate the weekend's football action. The Men's Champions League returns this week. You can head to Sounds on Tuesday for live commentary of Manchester United versus FC Copenhagen, and Newcastle United against Borussia Dortmund will be on Wednesday. And you can also head to the iPlayer to catch the latest episodes of this one.
The Football Academy is back with a brand new series, bringing you closer to the passion and power of our rising stars. Experience the highs.
This is why we play football.
And lows.
Can't watch.
There will be more goals and famous faces than ever before. Watch our players tackle challenges.
Your control is insane.
Forge friendships and chase their dreams in
A brand new series of the Football Academy.
Watch now on BBC iPlayer.
Well, thank you so much at home for watching. A reminder, we're on at 10 p.m. every single week on the BBC iPlayer, then a little bit later for you on BBC One. Big thanks to Tash and to Gilly for joining us. Brilliant debut, Tash. We won't be back next week because there is an international break, so enjoy those fixtures. So we'll see you same time, same place in a couple of weeks. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
It's Chloe Kelly for Manchester City, and Manchester City take the lead. They preserve their unbeaten start to the season.
The shot from distance, absolutely brilliant from Katie McCabe. And what an equaliser that is. Rachel Furness. Katie McCabe makes no mistake with that.